that's the last time we ordered Marvel books through Diamond.
Yep.
We're moving to Penguin Random House.
Correct.
What do we do to... Yes?
Keep going. Finish your statement.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics. Keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
This was just a story I was going to tell you, but I figured I'll start recording. Midway through the day, well, more toward the end of the day, a guy came in. Let me preface this by saying it was a hot day.
Yeah, true.
It was a very hot day. Like, you walk outside and you walk into this just haze of heat.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, scorching heat, but it was just
Yeah.
So a guy came in with long pants,
Okay.
a coat,
Wow.
not like, not a sport coat, not a suit coat,
like a colder weather
like
coat.
a jacket and a backpack.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what you are doing is you are saying, stop everything and watch me.
Yeah, everything about that wardrobe in this weather is like, oh, you need places to hide stuff.
And
that's what that looks like when you go into a store dressed like that.
And I don't want to judge people by appearance, but I do judge people by their clothing.
Sure.
From experience.
Yeah.
And immediately, and I can't tell you how many times this has happened, as soon as he's out of my sight, I go to pull up the camera that he's on. All the cameras needed a firmware update.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So the moral to the story is this person was more than fine, bought things, was very polite, kept calling me sir, like almost too much.
Okay.
But there were no issues.
Sure, that's good.
And I wanted to say, man, what's with the coat? But, because I'm genuinely curious why you wear a coat today.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to say it, if it at all thinks like I'm saying, hey, you're suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think so. You could just very easily phrase it in like, man, it's scorching out there. Like, how are you surviving in a coat? Like, isn't it killing you?
Hey Siri, I go to pull up the camera and now she's listening.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
It's like a weekly thing.
It really is.
You setting off my Siri.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yet me saying that didn't do anything.
Maybe you should put it in like theater mode or something.
Is there a podcast mode?
I think theater mode would probably cut it.
Really? You don't think Siri's listening?
I've never had Siri go off on my watch during a movie, and there's probably a bunch of ways each movie it could probably do that.
Sure. As I was telling that story about the person with the coat, there was something else. I'm like, oh, there was another interaction I wanted to mention. Because I had and still have a different way I wanted to start this episode of Contest of Challengers, Dal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was by asking you this question to not answer, but to think about. We'll get back to in a little bit.
Okay.
Who makes money in comics?
Got it.
Not who has made comics. I'm sorry. Who's made comics?
Jack
Name
Kirby.
Everyone. Everyone. That's one.
Mostly Jack Kirby.
Who makes money in today's comics?
Uh-huh. Okay.
We'll get back to that.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you don't need to think about it. I'm sure you already have answers formulated.
I have one main answer, yes.
Well, it's not us. Is that your answer?
Oh, no, God, no.
No. I also have an answer, but I'm going to save that for later.
Cool.
I forgot where I wanted to go now, and that's terrible because we're like 2 minutes into this.
Oh, no.
But I was talking about that guy, and then I brought up the cameras.
Interaction, and then money in comics.
The money in comics is how I was going to start, but then I was already telling you this story. You brought up Jack Kirby.
I did.
You always do, every time.
I like him. He's a good guy.
How do you know that? You been talking to him recently?
He's the only person who has the same viewpoint on what comics will do to your heart that I do. So that was cool.
Is it comics will bankrupt your heart?
Maybe.
It could be that. My goodness. Here is a question.
Okay. Can I answer this one, or do I have to answer it and then not say it?
I would like you to answer this one.
Give it a shot.
Anybody with the upcoming previews... Oh, we got Marvel previews in today, by the way.
Yeah, well, I saw the tracking information, so it sort of figured.
Okay.
There's also promo posters and stuff that are getting shipped out?
Not in this box.
No, separate shipment. We'll be getting a lot of little shipments from Penguin Random House over the next few days because back-ordered graphic novels, Marvel previews, Marvel promo posters.
Yeah, also, I don't know about...
Everything's coming from different warehouses in different sizes.
I didn't look too deep into this. It's a very busy time for me right now.
Sure.
We did get a very large Penguin Random House charge.
Okay.
So I assume it's the order that you placed that was terms. Isn't terms.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works or when that works. It could be a bunch of backorder stuff.
Nobody knows. We talked last week about hearing from PRH about terms and things. And they had said they really hope to get back to us this week. Well, this week is over.
But, I mean, here's the thing. They don't have a card on file for us.
PRH?
PRH.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Because they bill us. Because
We
PRH is.
We have to put our card in every time we check out.
Huh.
They don't keep anything on file.
Did you do that recently?
No. And that's the thing. For the terms one specifically, we chose, bill us later or whatever they have their thing for terms. I did not give them a credit card for those FOC cards or whatever.
Interesting. Well,
I mean, I did this past Wednesday, but Thursday. Well,
okay. Maybe it was just Wednesday's order coming through.
Yeah, that probably was it because Wednesday's was a large order. Yeah,
right.
Because we had the Lore Olympuses and we also had the regular reorder.
Okay,
and there's
that makes sense.
Older stuff that they are finally shipping out to us, which means they're probably also finally billing us for. I don't know how that works with them.
We had somebody. So today was a crazy Saga day.
Yeah.
We sold a bunch of Sagas off the shelf.
You sold a bunch online, too.
Well, only one volume.
Right.
7 copies.
7 copies?
That was everything we had.
Person?
It was everything we had. And part of me is like, man, it's going to take us a week and a half to get these back, if not longer.
No, I'll order some on Sunday.
Okay. But from who?
Diamond?
Oh. Okay.
Diamond out of stock on it?
I didn't look.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully they still are.
I didn't look. For some reason, I had just forgotten that we ordered anything from Diamond.
Yeah, image stuff, mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of it.
I wonder if we had 15, if they would have ordered 15. I wonder why somebody who is close enough to pick them up
wanted them shipped out.
But also that boned us on shipping.
Oh, you couldn't fit those in a padded envelope?
No.
You couldn't fit 7
Sagas? No.
That's always the risk with that sort of thing. Because we do all of our shipping calculations based on transaction totals, and it works out 9 times out of 10, but there's that 10th time out of 10 where it's like, oh, that's a weirdly shaped product that doesn't fit in a box, or doesn't fit in an envelope and needs a box.
Yeah.
But the value isn't sufficient to charge for a box. Whatever. 90% of the time it's fine, and I'll take that.
Yeah. Fortunately, it was after, I packed it up after the Luna is carpeting. Yep. Lunar order came in, so I could just use their bubble wrap.
Cool.
That was very convenient. But yes, somebody locally ordered 7 copies of Saga. We have a stack of boxes that are going out because everybody who wanted something today needed a box.
Okay.
Actually, one club member got a padded envelope, but another club member got 2 boxes.
Wow.
And then this box.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? 7 copies of Saga. What is up?
I hope they have 7 really good friends who've never read Saga. That'd be pretty cool.
That's exactly what Gina said.
Yeah.
It's funny because I pull up the order. I'm like, okay, it's Saga. Why is it $80? Oh, shit.
There's kind of 2 options when you get a local order for 7 copies of one book. It's either they have a whole bunch of friends that they want to give gifts to, which, it's July, so that seems sort of unlikely. The other one is always some producers need copies of books. We've had that happen before. That was when Powers was filming in town.
Yeah.
Suddenly it was we got a call from a production office who's we need 15 copies of Powers Volume 1 today. And it's we don't stock 15 copies of Powers. I can order it for you, but it's going to take about a week to come in. And they were like, that's okay.
Just to show people how easily swayed I am by what I'm talking about or what I'm doing.
Saga?
I wrote down, who makes money in Saga?
Oh, I mean, hopefully the creators.
I mean, think about that. We'll get into it later.
Okay.
Who makes money in Saga? Yes. Okay. That's fine. Coats in the store. Not Ta-Nehisi.
No, I mean, I feel like we'd recognize Ta-Nehisi coats if he came in. I hope I would.
I don't know that I would.
I hope I would.
I know what he looks like, but I don't think I would think it was him.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the context matters.
Samoa Joe, who's a very recognizable person, was in the store, and I still had to pull him up online and ask Gina, do you think that's the same guy?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're just not used to it. It's context.
Yeah.
You know, if you were...
It makes more sense for Ta-Nehisi Coates to be in a store.
If you
than
were at
Samoa Joe.
Allstate Arena and you saw Samoa Joe walking around, you'd be like, well, this is where I expect to see Samoa Joe. But, like, your local comic shop, not exactly where you'd expect him to be.
So the question I was going to ask you before I got distracted by the sagas, 7 sagas. That's what I want to write down.
Okay.
Oh, also of the orders I had to call today, the Sailor Moon mailbox is full.
Great.
Yep.
And that's somebody who ordered that book and another book twice.
Oh wow.
They were down for it before. We couldn't fill it, and they ordered it again this week. And like finally, we could fill one of them. But like, there's a Tokyo Ghoul they're down for, and it's like this has been out of print for like 6 months. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
And I always get a little frustrated when it's like, why did you have to order it a second time? You're already down for it. Why didn't you say that when you were ordering it? Like, we would have said, we already have your information. We haven't closed that order. You don't need to order it a second time.
So I'm going to say this next thing. I'm going to let it hang there so people can think about it for a second.
Okay.
For all you Sandman fans out there, and for our fellow retailers, one of our colleagues took an order for Sandman Volume 12. Do you see what's wrong with that?
So, it's tricky because the currently printed editions of Sandman, the 30th anniversary editions, have renumbered spines. You have the 10 main volumes that they've had for a while. But then they also took...
Move goal. Sitting here right now.
You did
Move goal.
You did it. They took Dream Hunters?
Sure.
Or Endless Nights. They took Endless Nights.
Where the endless night... It doesn't work right. It's better Dream Hunter. Where the dream hunters don't want to dream no more.
And made that volume 11. And then they took Overture, the recent Neil Gaiman, J.H. Williams miniseries, and made that volume number Infinity, which is sort of a reference to how the series works, where it was done way after the main series, but also acts as a bit of a prequel. So, in theory, it's both, like...
The end and the beginning.
A 0 volume and what could be a 12 volume. So, did we talk to this person? Do we know what volume 12 is meant to be?
We left a message for that person. That person did not call back.
Okay, perfect. Well, that person's not going to get volume 12, but we could maybe get them something else.
There's always something like that.
Always.
There's always something like that.
Always.
Hey, Dow, my question to you is, once I do the initial orders this upcoming week, that's the last time we order Marvel books through Diamond.
Yep.
We're moving to Penguin Random House. What do we do to... Yes?
Keep going. Finish your statement.
For pull box customers who order things through Diamond.
So in theory, it doesn't really make a difference. What we would normally do in a perfect world is there'd be a clean break after we post this catalog to Diamond. We would change over in the vendor section of Comic Suite. The Penguin Random House handles Marvel products, and that way when we download the new invoice, Marvel books would be broken out into a separate catalog, similar to how DC stuff is broken out into a separate catalog. The problem, sort of...
One of the problems.
One of the problems is that we will still continue to get Marvel books from Diamond for the next 2 months. For August and September. Like single comics and stuff.
Sure. And maybe a year after that, things like Web of Spider-Man. Who knows what still hasn't filled yet? New Warriors? Remember that book?
A lot. So, as a quick sidebar, a lot of the books that have been delayed, basically any book that was ordered under the old terms that is now going to ship under the new terms, Marvel basically has to cancel those orders and resolicit it.
Okay.
Because now the terms have changed, so you have to be able to change those orders entirely, regardless of FOC data. So that's why they're doing some stuff like that, where hardcovers that were ordered in like March or April that now aren't coming out until November, they're like, okay, we're changing the FOC dates to August, and it's still going to come out in November, but now you can make them 0. So it's going to be a little tricky with how we do Marvel stuff. Like, currently, if somebody does a last-minute special order through Pullbox for a Marvel book, which is a lot of people, and it's like for a variant cover that we didn't normally order, we would just say create new order, and it would send that special order to the Diamond open order that we have going, and then it would get uploaded to Diamond later in the week. The problem we're going to have is that there's going to be stuff that's going to be ordered through Pullbox for a new order, that because we have Comic Suite set up to say Marvel books are ordered through Penguin Random House, it's going to take that order and say, okay, great, we broke that out into an order that's going to get uploaded to Penguin Random House. Except we can't, because Penguin Random House doesn't carry that specific issue. They won't start carrying comics until October.
Right.
So if someone in mid-August wants to special order a Marvel comic that we're not carrying through Pullbox, it's going to be a giant hassle. It's not a hassle if it's something we already have an order for. If someone suddenly decides, oh, I want Darkhold Alpha, well, we're probably going to get copies of that for the shelf, so it's going to be easy to do that. But if someone's like, I want Darkhold Alpha, but this one specific artist variant, we definitely didn't order that for the shelf. And now, I can look at that order and give it to Diamond, but there's no checks and balances within Comic Suite to make sure that when that book shows up in a week, 2 weeks, a month, Diamond is going to know how to receive that and flag it correctly for the person it's supposed to be down for. And unlike the DC stuff that shows up from Lunar, where it's pretty easy to go through and double check everything to see if there's any open orders that haven't filled because of how crazy Comic Suite is with alternate vendors, this Marvel stuff that's going to be coming in from Diamond in August and September is going to be amongst hundreds of other items. And we get so much Marvel stuff in a week that it's like, I can't check every Marvel book just to make sure.
Nope.
So stuff like that is almost going to be like, I'm printing that out, I'm keeping that separate. That's just going to be something we check by hand. Because trying to find it in the system is going to be a nightmare. But that's just where we're at until October, essentially, assuming we're still using Comic Suite in October, which we may not be.
Which we're counting on not being.
Yeah, not to make this a thing where every single episode we talk about Managed Comics, but I was reading over...
Brian doesn't mind.
Hopefully not. I was reading... Maybe we may eventually. When we find flaws, and we will. He's been really good about that.
Let's not say flaws. Let's say things that
we'll find
don't
flaws.
work for us.
Nope, there'll be flaws. No software is ever perfect, and nothing for the comics industry is ever perfect. Hopefully it's just more usable than the alternatives, which is Comic Suite and Pullbox. I was looking over some stuff that Managed Comics had sent out today. One was that they, as they're getting closer to releasing a product through Shopify, there are more suggestions that Shopify has to get them in compliance with how Shopify expects things on their platform to work. One of them is, and this is good for us, more documentation. You have to have a help section. You have to have an FAQ. You have to have things
excellent.
that people can look through.
I thought they were asking for more documentation from us.
No.
Write down all of your errors.
What they want is a cleaner onboarding process. They want a thing where if you've never heard of Managed Comics and you run a comic shop and you have a Shopify store and you go to the Shopify app section and you see Managed Comics there, Geek Fetch, Managed Comics 2.0 is the new official title.
Okay. I understand why they had to change it.
They do what they got to do.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
We're going to call it Managed Comics.
Yes, we are.
So if you are in the app section for Shopify and you see that particular app and you're like, that sounds like the perfect thing for my store, you need to be able to just sign up for that app, subscribe to it, and be able to integrate it into your storefront without having to watch a bunch of YouTube tutorials or contact the manufacturer or whatever. It can't be a thing where you need essentially a buddy in the industry to walk you through it.
That seems like it's an awkward way to do something.
You need to be able to have that product in front of you and figure it out. It needs to be intuitive enough just in its basics, but also have enough documentation. So if you're like, I don't know how to do that, there should be a thing that tells you how to do that. Obviously, there's a limit to what any product is going to be able to do before it's even launched. But what I saw in their documentation was pretty helpful and interesting. It's not super thorough, again, because they haven't actually launched a product yet. The beta testers are using. And on top of that, some of the things that you and I would need that program to have before we would even think about switching over are not there yet. Managed Comics, and I'm getting more of a sense of this as I'm reading more of their stuff, Managed Comics is something that was originally created to be just subscription management. So a lot of the things it would do as far as helping you do an initial order or FOCs is basically just, here's how many subscribers you have, how many more do you want on top of that? And then that number gets added together and you upload it to your distributor. The whole how many extra do you want is a thing it doesn't have any data for.
It doesn't say, here's what you sold of the previous issue, here was how many were club, here many were off the shelf.
Nope. And it also doesn't say, like, here's what you ordered before. You're literally just like, here is what you need for Batman 112. How many more do you want to tell the distributor that you want on top of that?
See, that's the thing that Lunar's website has for FOC, but not initial order.
Weird.
For FOC, you can click on, let's say, Flash 773. You click on that, and it'll show you, here's what you ordered for 772A cover, 772B cover, 7071, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
all the way through. It doesn't tell you what you sold through because it's not a sales tool. It is it's just the ordering function. But on the initial orders, it doesn't give you any of that.
That's
and
terrible.
I think that would be so much more helpful.
Sure. Yeah, I think Managed Comics 2.0 for Shopify, when that launches, will have, basically, it's going to have, I think, previous orders and stuff, but it won't be tracking sales data at first, but that is a thing that they are going to have
Sure.
within a very short window of time because they realize how important that is.
And it also, as we generate sales data.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it really wasn't possible before because Managed Comics wasn't integrated into a point-of-sale platform.
Yeah.
Once they start doing that, you'll have access to all that data, and they'll be able to sort of hopefully compile that data in a way where it's useful for us on FOC, on initial order. I'll send you some links. Going through their help section was interesting, but it was stuff I'd already sort of heard on the live stream. The more interesting thing they sent out was the PowerPoint deck they'd put together for a recent Comics Pro
Yeah, that was this week.
live stream.
That was yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
We didn't watch it because
We
of
did
the other one. Yeah.
But it's, I think, 61 pages in a PDF, and I found it pretty interesting just in an overview sense. Very little of it was stuff I didn't know, but there was some cool stuff where they've talked to people who've been using some version of Managed Comics and what they think of it and how they would recommend it and what they want to see and the sort of roadmap for the company on things they want the program to be able to do and how close they're getting to certain things. I think you'd get something out of it.
Sure.
I will send it to you.
I am. I mean, we're at a point where you've done all this research. I have not.
Yeah.
So when you talk about it, you visualize it in your head. I'm just visualizing Comic Suite.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. It is visually a lot more intuitive than Comic Suite. But yeah, it's a program that
This was the second one, by the way.
oh my god, you drink that so fast. It's a program that obviously isn't quite where we would want it to be at, but it's not even in beta yet, so we'll give them another month or so and we'll see where it goes.
Wait, it is in beta, right? They're beta testing.
I think they're beta testing some portion of it, but
Okay.
the actual Managed Comics Shopify app beta, I don't think it started yet because they've had to address some of those Shopify
Okay. Rules
nomenclature
changes.
concerns and some of the other stuff. But Brian has said in emails that they're using that time to kind of keep tweaking it and adding to it. They can't release it to the public yet, but they can keep working on it in the meantime. So it sounds like what beta testers are going to get are going to be a little farther along than they'd maybe expected to be able to give them, but they will still need a lot of real-world feedback to make sure all that stuff is actually doing the job.
Well, now, at this point, we've had numerous texts come in whilst we were recording.
Okay.
First of all, Alexis has got up to the High School Musical episode of Supernatural.
How far back for that is you?
I'm about a season ahead of her.
Okay.
Yeah, I've lapped her.
Yeah.
She was a season ahead of me, but she took a big break because some things happened she wasn't a fan of.
Okay.
So she needed some time to let it...
To process it.
yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But the High School Musical episode was pretty great,
Okay.
and she just got to it.
Great.
Also, your good friend Robert Burns has wanted to say that this is his favorite podcast.
Oh, wow.
He loves it. He loves us, especially you.
Aw.
So there you go. That's the update on
Unsolicited.
today's texts whilst recording.
Okay.
And in doing so, I've also knocked out of my head the next thing I wanted to talk about,
no.
which happens all the time.
It
And I
really
even
does.
have a notebook and a pencil in my hand, and I didn't bother to write those things down. Was it something Managed Comics related? So we have that coming on. So we do plan, we're looking ahead at what we want challengers to be, and
Yeah.
This
for the
is a-
second half of the year.
yeah,
And going forward.
And this is like what I said with in the David Harper piece, his mid-year check-in. Like, we're finally at a point where we're not worried about surviving.
Right.
Now we're worried about what do we want to be.
Yeah.
Because when we opened, we had this vision of what a comic store should be. Well, we did that. And we are that, but what do we want it to become? We
Yeah.
don't just want to tread water.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is we're kind of pivoting from like minimizing chances of failure and more about maximizing chances of success. You know, it's that outlook of instead of looking at everything as how do we keep this from sinking the store, now it's like how do we take the things that are working and make them work better so it becomes a bigger part of the store, a more successful element of what we do.
That's a good phrase. I
Thanks,
like that.
man.
I wrote that down.
Thanks.
A lot of it is aesthetics.
Yeah.
I have put in calls and emails to several local lighting companies
Oh, okay.
to come out and give us a quote on all new lighting.
What if we changed the lighting to red neon in the shape of like a Sistine Chapel sort of thing, but for comic books?
I mean, I don't understand how to do that. I was going to do red fluorescence, i.e. paint the white bulbs we have now, make them red.
Sure, okay, just
Turns out
regular
it
paint.
kind of blocks the light.
Oh,
Well, all I have are we've got a gallon of red house paint and tubes of red acrylic.
Okay, and we're just throw the paint up. You know, whatever it hits.
Well, I wanted to dip the bulbs in, but then you only get 6 to 8 inches of paint on them.
Yeah.
Then you turn it upside down and let it run down.
Sure,
But
okay.
it doesn't coat.
No, I suppose not.
It just kind of drips.
You get like Carnage light bulbs.
Yeah, which I think some people would like. Boy, there was somebody today who was very excited to see that there was a Phage series because they never even
Because they
only ever
created
saw
Phage.
Phage. And the best part about the whole interaction,
Huh?
didn't buy it,
No, of course not.
but did buy whatever
I
the
ha-
extreme carded number one.
I had a thing earlier this week where somebody in at the end of the day was looking around and I'm like, hey, just so you know, we're going to be closing up soon. Okay, cool. Is there anything I can help you find? Yeah, I was looking for, it's Avengers versus X-Men, but it was like just the battles. Oh, sure, Avengers versus X-Men. It's actually called Versus. It's right over here. We actually have a few copies. Put it in their hands. They looked at it for 5 or 6 minutes and then put it back down and walked out.
Yep.
It's like, it's exactly the book you wanted. You came to the store looking for it. We had it.
Yeah, they needed to know how to look it up on Amazon.
Which maybe that was it, but it's like, why did you even bother making the trip then? Like, if it wasn't something you could even afford then, why go to the store? Like, it's not like you went to the store just to browse. You came looking for something that we had, and then you didn't buy it. Very confusing to me. Very confusing interaction.
Former challenger Mario was in today and had nothing in her box.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, hey, Mario, do you want recommendations? She's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, oh, my God. So she walked off with...
Vinyl.
6 sidekicks.
I mean, she was down for nail biter, so I would have gone for vinyl.
Okay, well, I didn't look what she was down for. I just looked at where she was standing.
Okay.
6 sidekicks.
6 sidekick, sure.
Nice House on the Lake.
Perfect.
Momo.
Good one.
And X-Men number 1.
Okay, good choices.
And then
We
on her own...
sold a bunch of 6 sidekicks and Nice House to people this week who, like, mostly, I don't want to say there's people in our subscription service that only get what we recommend, but they're people who are way less dialed into the industry, so they need us to point out stuff to them. They don't look at emails, they don't go to websites, they're not following creators online. So, like, we have to go, hey, by the way, Logan, you should be getting Nice House on the Lake.
Logan should definitely be getting a Nice House on the Lake.
Here you go.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of people not following or reading things,
Uh-huh.
a club member was in and came up with a box. And I go, did you want a magazine box? What? No, I want, it's a half box. Sure isn't. We don't have any. That is a magazine box. Oh, I'm like, there should have been a sign right at the top. I didn't read the sign. I mean, literally the sign is right there because we don't want that to happen. But
To not confuse people,
Yeah.
but okay, great.
So they bought no box
Okay.
because we don't have any.
Yeah.
We had a lot of random supply requests. I'm like, I can't get that. I'm not even going to take your number down because I can't get you those magazine top loaders you want. It's not going to happen.
I mean, certainly not in a time frame where you're going to still need them.
Yeah.
Like, I need to. As always, this goes into the heading of when we have an extra pair of hands and I've got some time, I really need to go through the special order book and just tear out some pages and throw them out. Because it's
Sure.
stuff from, like, more than 6 months
Sure.
ago, and that means no one's going to want it. That's
Yeah.
the lifespan on special orders these days.
I agree. I
we
completely agree.
had some stuff finally come in because Marvel had it back in print. It's like, hey, we got this Dr. Aphra graphic novel that you'd ordered. It's finally available again. Oh, I already found it online. I don't need that. Okay, how about the other Star Wars graphic novel you're down for? Yeah, I found that one too. Okay, thanks.
I get it. Just let us know.
Right. I mean, I don't blame someone for finding it somewhere else.
No,
but
definitely not.
When you
Definitely
have a special order someplace, maybe let that store know that you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I don't always say it, but I'll say to people, like, hey, it's not available now. We're always going to keep looking. If you find it, let us know. But that's for something I know that's out of print or out of stock or whatever.
Yeah, this was a Marvel graphic novel that it was like, they're definitely printing more. It's not happening tomorrow. We will let you know when it's available again. And that stuff usually, I don't think will be a problem because in general, if it's unavailable everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, we've had people ask that for some, like, manga stuff where it's like, oh, but I could find it at a bookstore. No, man, Viz is out of stock. Like, at the distribution level. Like, there are literally no copies for them to send places. Could a store have it on the shelves? Possibly, but no one can order it for you.
Can you tell me what we had a ton of requests for today?
Demon Slayer?
Not manga related. A product line that we currently have 0 of in stock.
Pokemans.
So many Pokemon references, and it was almost all parents for kids or people that are, hey, I just found all my old cards and I started playing again. It's so much fun. I want to get more cards. Yeah. And each person got you're not going to be able to find them. It's so hard. Middle-aged collectors are ruining it for children.
Yep.
And like one of the parents was just like almost devastated.
Yeah.
But it's a game for kids.
I know.
No, it's a commodity for adults.
It's just one more collectible that people can make money on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to be completely out of Pokemon cards. Considering, like, we had a few weeks where we were getting stuff in every single week.
Yeah.
And now we're just out again, and we're out until who knows when. I think we got our allocations for the Pokemon Celebration stuff, and it was like 0, you're getting nothing. It's like, okay, great.
Yep.
And that's, I think, the next thing that's coming out. I'm like, nah, can't get them.
Nope.
Yeah, we'll see what else ever comes in. I remember reading something in ICV2's most recent magazine that they put up for retailers. That's Internal Correspondence version or volume 2.
I like to think it was Vespa, too.
Vertical 2. They were talking to game stores and game distributors, and game distributors especially were saying that, like, basically the Pokemon company who does all the Pokemon cards had, you know, in years past, overprinted on certain sets. Certain sets they just couldn't move. And now distributors are taking whatever they can get their hands on because stores are taking whatever they can get their hands on. So there are pallets that are being distributed to distributors to be then broken up that are covered in dust. Because they've just been sitting in warehouses for God knows how long. But now it's like, oh, that stuff is gold.
I don't think we talked about this, but our distributor gave us a list of, hey, we've got access to all these old Pokemon cards. Do you want them? Some of them are like up to $4,000 a box.
A box of booster packs.
Yeah.
That is 24 to 36 packs. I can't remember the assortment. And they are thousands.
36 for Pokemon,
thousands
but
of
24
dollars.
for
Thousands.
Yeah. Actually, I think one was as high as like 6,000.
We were mentioning that around a couple Pokemon people, and someone was like, which set was that? And I think we read it off, and they're like, yeah, you could probably get like $6,000 or $8,000 for that box.
Wow.
Because it's like, that's why they're selling for $4,000 to retailers, because retailers can flip them for a couple $1,000s more.
Well,
it's insane.
So if they used to do that, why don't they do that now? And specifically for Wizards of the Coast, Magic cards, they now have so many different iterations of Magic cards. When a new series comes out, it used to be...
Yeah, the configurations are so much.
In the beginning it was decks and boosters. Then they started adding fat packs into the mix, which they now call bundles.
Yep.
But now there's draft boosters, set boosters, collector boosters, all draft boosters in foreign languages, like 5 different languages you can choose from.
Bundles.
Gift
sets.
Commander decks. Gift sets.
Yep.
And yet, they're scarcer than ever before,
Yeah.
and they get allocated every time. Today was the release, not the pre-release, the actual release of the Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms series, which is a giant mouthful.
It really is. D&D boosters.
And
just D&D boosters.
It's Forgotten Realms is what I'm calling them.
Sure, okay.
So, we ordered, we didn't order a ton, but we ordered multiples.
Yeah.
We got 1 box of draft boosters, 1 box of set boosters, and 2 boxes of commander decks, and that's all we're getting.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
And we've already heard like, oh no, this is a hot set. Of course it is, because it's allocated.
Yeah. I mean, it's beyond that. Like, it's hot because it's allocated. It's hot because it's a collectible in the age of COVID, which means it's intensely sought after and going for multiples of whatever the retail price is. But it's also hot because it's a big idea.
Yeah.
It's Dungeons & Dragons Magic cards. Like, that thing was going to sell even in the most overlooked era of Magic the Gathering. That would have gotten fans excited. To do it now, when collectible trading cards are going insane, it's certainly not a great time to not be able to get those.
Why wouldn't you produce more?
Well, some of it is just how hard it is to make anything right now.
I know, but then, like, why even ask for orders from distributors?
I'd agree with that.
If you're just going to be like, no, this is what you want this, no, you're getting this.
Yeah, like, I mean, certainly for us...
Like, it's if somebody pre-ordered all their comics were like, nah, you can only have this Spider-Man, this Batman, and these 2 Sagas. That's all.
Yeah, like, for us, I don't want to sell 1 box right now if I know I have the option of selling 6 boxes 6 months from now. I'll wait. I'll wait until you have enough product to actually be able to sell a bunch of it. I don't need it early. I need a lot of it.
I thought you were saying, I'm going to hoard those 6 boxes and mark them up.
No.
Like, what are you
I'm
saying?
saying if Wizards of the Coast wanted to push back the release...
Until of course.
Until they could produce enough of it to actually meet demand, I would be more than fine with that.
You mean
I would not care.
DC and their variant covers?
For example.
DC, the last couple weeks, has been... You know how they do A and B covers for all their books, if not more covers?
Right.
They've been... Some of the B covers are shipping late.
Yeah, like we had Flash
Why?
B cover ship a week late.
Why?
The most recent issue.
Why?
It's very strange.
Why? I don't get it. Just make more of the cards. Like, you not... So much of this has made me just say, maybe we don't carry Magic cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or I'm sorry, not Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon cards.
I mean,
Yu-Gi-Oh is fine.
Technically, those companies are making that decision for us.
Yeah.
We already don't carry Pokemon cards because we can't get any Pokemon cards.
How many people are so disappointed when they come in and, like, do you have Pokemon cards? No, I'm sorry, we don't have any. And
I see it happen at least once a day.
They don't care why we don't have them. They just know Challengers doesn't have Pokemon cards.
Yeah, it's not great. It's the same thing with manga, where I feel bad when there's a lot of teenagers and preteens coming in, and they go to the manga section, and it's like, I can't help you. Like, I know what you're looking for.
You like manga? I can't help you.
You're looking for the same thing everyone's looking for in that section, and we can't get them, and I don't know when we'll be able to get them. And we're already hearing from the publisher, it's going to take up to a year.
Yeah.
Like, that's how long it's going to take to get things settled. Because of a billion different things. Like, it's because of COVID. It's because of the intense demand. It's because of how much it costs to ship things and how hard it is to ship things. And how the printers are overbooked and how some of the stuff is blowing up out of nowhere. It's very... I was explaining to someone earlier this week that some of the problems specifically for Viz is that if they had one series like Demon Slayer Super Hot, okay, fine. Well, we'll go back to press on those Demon Slayer books that are selling out. Viz's problem is they're having it happen to multiple franchises at the same time. So the second they get Demon Slayer fixed, which they haven't, Death Note sold out. And then while they're fixing Death Note, My Hero Academia and Beastars is sold out. And then when they're fixing those 2, 3 more are done, and it's like, you can't catch up. You can't ever get it right.
And that's printers are still running at reduced staff, so that's reduced print, so it's like the less quantities being made when they need more than ever to be printed.
Right.
They're working at,
like if
quarter
you have,
capacity.
If you have room on the printers, like if you're sold out of 10 volumes of My Hero Academia, okay, well, you can book 4 volumes on the printer right now. Which ones do you pick? And while you're doing that, congratulations.
4 more books just sold out.
You don't have 6 you have left to do now. You have 8. Because while you were printing those 4, 2 more sold out. And so on. And this is, again, happening within franchises and overall for their entire publishing slate. So it's like whack-a-mole. It is impossible to get a full run of any series in print at one time right now. It sucks. It's not great. But yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. And it's sad to be able to have to say that to people. And yeah, it sucks for us as a store to be the face of that. They don't look at it as like Viz let them down. Again, they go to Challengers, and Challengers didn't have it. Or they go to Chicago Comics, and Chicago Comics didn't have it. And we become the face of...
right now, they're, how dare you, we have every Demon Slayer in stock.
We have every Viz book ever made. We become the face of their disappointment, and that's not cool. I don't want to be that.
Oh, I'm writing that down too. That's good. Man, I had too many things I wanted to be the title.
Sorry. It's a quotable episode.
The face of your disappointment.
I figured you'd like that one. Yeah, it's a real tricky time, and I mean, it's happening across a lot of other things. It sucks that I can't get House of X softcover or hardcover from multiple distributors.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. That's a big book.
This week alone,
be out of
a
stock.
couple of people, actually today, 2 different people came in and were like, I haven't read the X-Men in a while, I want to start. Yeah, right? Can't get you the books to start with.
Nope. Yeah, I really, really hate that. Definitely a thing that should never happen, and it's happening a lot.
Yeah. Was it 2 years ago that X-Men relaunched?
It was October of 2019.
19, okay.
I remember that because we opened a store in November, and it was like, how great would it have been?
To open, yeah, exactly. People would have found us for that.
Only mistake we ever made with that store.
Hey Challengers Comics, this is Stephanie Phillips, the current writer of Harley Quinn at DC with artist Riley Rossmo, and I just wanted to say hi and thank you so much to everyone who's currently reading and supporting our series. We're having so much fun making this book, and we have some super cool stuff coming up as well. Last week we had issue 4 come out, starring one of my favorite characters in the DC universe, Solomon Grundy, variant cover by Derek Chu, and our Pride variant for the month of June, which is absolutely gorgeous, so thanks to everyone for picking that up. Next month, issue 5, we actually have a new villain coming to Gotham who's going to absolutely just annoy Harley Quinn. His name was Keepsake, so we're really excited about introducing him in issue 5. And then you can also learn more about him in the annual, which comes out August 31st and is drawn by artist Darko LaFuente. And so we are super excited for all things coming up in Harley Quinn. And thank you again so much to everyone who has been reading the series, and I'm looking forward to stopping by Challengers Comics really soon.
I got cut off a little early before, by myself, I'm sure. I don't even remember. But when we're talking about things we're looking to the future and how we want to change things and things we want to do differently, and one of the things I've always wanted to do is to sell greeting cards. Because you go into any greeting card store or place or drugstore that has greeting cards, there's a ton of different superhero greeting cards that you can choose from.
Yeah, and we get a lot of requests for them. Like, people will get gift cards or they'll buy gifts in the store, and they're like, do you have a card? Like,
So, American Greetings is the main company that does all the superhero stuff. Mm-hmm. And, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, we went through the process of opening an account.
I get a lot
which
of
was, oh, yeah, exactly. Jesus, we get a lot of emails. Which was a little more labor-intensive than opening an account with most publishers.
Sure.
So, we finally got approved, all this stuff, it's all good. We had an account rep. Well, they've got like 200 superhero designs, let's say. Mm-hmm. You can't just choose them. They're all in lots, and their quantities are insane.
How insane? Can you give me an idea, like a range?
Hundreds.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cards. And cards ain't cheap.
And not only that, it's a spreadsheet, so it just tells you the character and what kind of card it is. Like, happy birthday or... whatever.
Condolences from Batman.
Yeah,
sorry,
exactly.
What?
Sorry, your parents were murdered in Crime Alley. Oh, that's condolences for Batman. I see. There's a difference there. So we realized, like, a small store like us will never be able to stock these cards. And while I'm sure there are different companies with different licenses that we may be able to work with, it's not worth all the headache. It's the amount of headache it already was just to find out, oh, this is way beyond our means.
Yeah.
Like, they would give us... Don't worry, they'd give us a rack to hold all these cards we'd be ordering. We don't have space for a giant rack.
We don't want that many cards.
We already had, thanks to Donovan Challenger, we already had a spinner rack, or 2 spinner racks actually, in mind for cards.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we want that many cards. We don't want to...
Which is 2 small potatoes for them to deal with.
Right. But I mean, we could have gotten a lot of cards. It's like 16... 3 by 4, 12... No, 16... Pockets? Spaces, 16 pockets. So, I mean, I don't want to give people too many choices. Like, I wouldn't do, hey, here's Batman saying happy 8-year-old birthday. Mm-hmm. Here's Supergirl saying hey, happy 8-year-old birthday. I wouldn't do those. We would just do a lot. Anyway, we can't do that.
Right.
So, for a long time, I'm like, we're just going to make our own cards. We finally did.
We
finally have the first in what will be a series of greeting cards available at Challengers. It's all going to be original art and original concepts. Mm-hmm. We may, because we're not going to, even though we have a printer that would have no problem printing, like if we wanted to make our own Superman card, they would print it. We're not going to do that.
No, we're not.
We don't have that license. That's not ours.
We'd rather not.
So the first card we have is blank inside, and it just has the Challenger on the outside.
And the Challenger logos.
Yeah, the Challenger's logos on the backdrop, and... It's blank, so it's for anything. Mm-hmm. And while...
It can be condolences if you want it to be.
Right. I mean, it's not... I'm sorry, your parents were killed in Crime Alley. While it's not necessarily recognizable to people as a card, it's a card.
It is a card.
And
It is a card.
It's in the spinner rack. They're all in the system. They're all, packaged. They come with envelopes.
And they got a barcode so I can put them online.
They got a barcode. We've already had several people on Instagram say, how can I order these?
I will put them online.
Also, shipping should be really easy.
Yeah,
It's the
right?
cost of a stamp.
Well...
Just a bigger envelope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put it in the regular...
It's $7.50 for it.
Here's a blank card with no envelope now because you just opened the envelope that it came in.
I was looking into...
I'll write inside, thank you.
Because it's our printer, we ordered, X amount of cards and X amount of envelopes because they come together.
Okay.
Well, they gave us 27 extra cards, but only like 13 extra envelopes.
Weird.
So it's a weird... it doesn't match. So we've got a bunch of extra cards and no envelopes. And I'm like, I'm going to look online just to do envelopes in bulk because we need them later. Like, oh, look, here's red ones that are the right size. Man, they're like 3 times as expensive as just blank white ones. Mm-hmm. It's like,
We're not going to be that fancy, folks.
Do we care? Do we care that much? I didn't order any.
Right.
I don't care. I mean, I would let you make that call.
No, I'm okay.
And you just did.
I'm okay. White's also a challenger's color.
And you know what? It is. It is. So the spinner rack is filled with the blank card,
Cool.
but there'll be new ones coming. And I have Gina inadvertently gave me an idea for new cards as well.
Typical Gina.
Right? Full of helpful ideas, that one. Unfortunately, right now it's on top of the local boxes, and that's a little too high.
Yeah.
But because it's just that one card, and you can reach the lower ones fine.
Right.
Ideally, I'd want it on top of the blue bookshelves, but that's all half-off stuff on the top.
It's true.
Yeah. So, anyway, that'll all change after the carpet. Which, by the way, the carpet has been pushed back a week. The simple answer is because the install company couldn't get the red carpet we wanted on time. Fine, that's life, that happens. When we ordered it, they'd said, hey, it's not in stock. So we're like, okay, we want, it was going to be in the end, like it was going to be, this upcoming Monday was going to be the install date.
Yeah. End of July.
And the guy said, I don't know that we can make that. We'll try. Because they should have gotten the carpet this week.
Right.
So we put that in tentatively. Later that day, somebody from the company called back and said, we're not going to have it by then. Can we push it back a week? Great, sure. Push it back a week. Told everybody, reached out to people.
August 1st, August 2nd.
Had a great crew of people committed for those 2 days. This Wednesday, there was a message on the phone, and we don't listen to messages right away. We don't like people leaving messages. Call us when we're open.
Store hours are on the answering machine.
So it was the somebody different from the carpet company calling to say, hey, this is so-and-so from carpet company. You're all set for August 6th.
Yep. Just to verify this new date.
No.
Well,
We're all set for August 6th.
Right, but like when I say verify the new date, I'm saying they're just calling to remind us
that we have an appointment
for this new date without saying it's a new date.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, stop saying new date.
Well, a new date for us.
Right, but
not a new date for
right. So that just here we're all set for Friday the 6th. And I called back, I'm like, no, our appointment is Monday the 2nd. It's like, oh, we're not going to have the carpet by then. Again, I get it.
Yeah.
Nothing they can do.
But you can't just give us a new date that you're going to show up with.
Yeah, you don't just pick and then leave a message.
Man.
And the message didn't even say, hey, I'm real sorry, we can't make that date. Here's the first available we have for you. It was just, no, here's a date.
Yep.
We'll see you then.
We work to their schedule.
Yeah, so it wasn't that they had to change it. We're not happy about that at all. And
no.
The amount of people that are like, I can't do those new dates.
Yeah. We had a great crew. Now we have a good crew of less people.
Yeah. Like Andrew and Gina are unavailable.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, you can't have every weekend open for us.
Right.
But, you overheard the conversation.
Yes.
How would you describe my demeanor?
Incensed, but professional.
Tough but firm?
Sure, yes. You were very like, I know this isn't your fault. This is not how we wanted this to go. This is not what we expected. I like that you trotted out we turned down other vendors with lower prices because we wanted to go with someone local who's going to be professional, and this is not what we expected. You were very clear on like, this is a huge letdown, and you've handled this badly.
And then the guy on the phone said, well, we're going to try to give you our best service. I'm thinking, try?
You already didn't.
Try?
Also, you already didn't.
Like
From now on? Do you mean from now on?
and I was all set to say, you know what, cancel the whole thing. But we paid for it all already.
We did.
Like, their policies, you could have given as little upfront as you want, but you have to pay for it all before the install. So I'm
Right.
like, what's the point?
Yeah, like trying to get the money back and then rescheduling entirely, and it's like, this is bad, but it's still before Free Comic Book Day, which is when we wanted it done.
Yeah, and also part of it was when I was talking to the salesman, who is a big part of the company, and I had said, look, I'm not worried about you guys doing a bad job because you know there's more work from us to be had because we have this other room we need to deal with in the
Eventually.
future. Yeah. So you know that's on the line, so I'm not worried about you, not trying to earn that from us.
Right.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
They could still earn it. It's still possible.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm just saying.
Thin
And
ice.
I know, like, the guy that I was dealing with, he wasn't even involved in this part of it.
Right.
But it's not like he's going to be involved in the installation either.
No. So he can't really guarantee, like, you'll get our best service.
Yeah.
How will you know?
Because I even said, well, what time? Oh, it'll be early. Thanks.
Unhelpful.
Yeah.
I
So
they
for...
keep treating, like, installing this carpet like it's, dropping off an Amazon package.
yeah, exactly.
This is, a huge production. We have to move a ton of stuff. It's going to take hours to do. And then we have to move everything back in. Like, this is 2 days of work for us. That's why you can't just suddenly go, oh, it's going to be Friday. That doesn't work, man.
Yeah. I brought these to show you for Carpet and Free Comic Book Day, but we'll just touch on them since we still have the big question to answer. But this is just a couple of measurements as to where things go for when we're putting things back after the carpet install. Like, hey, this is how far this
okay.
counter-
Those are the counters
Yeah.
and those are the bookshelves.
Yep.
I got it now. Got it.
Yep.
5 foot 3 inch gap between the bookshelves?
Yep. And then 5 foot 6 inches from the wall to the shelf.
Not the hooks, but
Not
from
the
wall.
hooks, not the grid. Yeah, same thing. This is to the bookshelf, not to the gaming grid
Sure.
or anything else.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then trying to figure out what the cage will look like for Free Comic Book Day.
Sure. Are you afraid of the path of the cage?
I'm not. I already did this once today. My Andy Samberg doing Nick Cage.
Okay.
But I won't. Because Gina saw Pig and loved it.
Oh, yeah, it sounds right. It got good reviews.
Yeah. So the problem is our inside cakes, the area that will be making a cage, it's 2 foot 6 inches. So the cage has to be 4 feet
Okay.
because we only have 2 foot panels.
Right.
So it's going to take up a lot of extra space.
Okay.
But here's what we're going to do differently.
I'm listening.
So it's 6 panels per side
Okay.
and 2 panels per end cap. We're not going to put shelves on the ends.
Okay.
We don't need to.
No.
We already have way more shelves
Works for
than
me.
normal. So,
So real quick,
Yeah.
since it's been a while since we talked about this,
Yeah.
are you, and I'm not going to say I am, are you concerned about the amount of product that's going to be inside those bookshelves and therefore unsellable for the day?
I'd thought about it, but we had talked about it before and you didn't care?
That was a while ago, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would suggest is maybe boxing up the half-off stuff and then putting those books on the half-off shelves and removing the signs for a day.
Okay.
And that way, if people ask about, like, Smile, we still can get Smile.
Sure.
And that way, nothing's really...
I think there's way more books on these shelves than we have room for in the half
Maybe.
off.
I have to count them up.
And we have to take off those half off signs.
Sure.
And also, that's where the creators are sitting.
Oh, that's true. I guess we would then move those in front of the back issues?
I mean, we can take these shelves and move them against the red shelves.
Yeah, but my point in this is to cover up the least amount of profitable, sellable product.
Right, but I'm saying the red shelves inside cakes are not as profitable as these shelves.
Sure, but like if I got to cover something up, I'd rather cover up the $1.99 back issues, you know?
Okay. So,
And that would also give the creators a little bit more space. We could move the tables a little closer to the windows because those blue bookshelves won't be there then.
oh, you mean still put them on the blue bookshelves?
Yes,
I thought you
but then
meant...
move the blue bookshelves out in front of the like basically empty out the blue bookshelves,
Yeah.
move them in front of the back issues, and then empty out the interior shelves of sidekicks
Okay.
to those blue bookshelves. So the only thing that we're covering up at that point is the $1.99 back issues, and those are always covered up for Free Comic Book Day anyway.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. Why don't we just move all of these out in front of the back issues?
I feel like that's going to be harder to do and take up way more space.
Don't forget the half-off shelves are only 2 shelves per...
No, they're 3.
Are there 3?
They're 3.
Okay.
The red bookshelves are 2, the blue bookshelves are 3.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, we'll
anything
just do
to not have to move all that stuff. Plus, we can keep... Oh, we want to bring Batman and Spider-Gwen outside for photos and things.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe not Gwen because she's fragile.
Yeah. I mean, Batman should be fine depending on how windy a day it is.
Yeah.
I know we've had that problem in the past.
Yeah. Deadpool they will lean no matter what.
Yeah.
But, okay. So, just so long as it doesn't change the...
No, the layout of the cage
total.
stays the same. It's
Yeah.
just there's nothing inside of it now beyond the
So,
fixtures.
I mean, it's going to be a little bit further out.
Yeah.
10 inches, looks just 5 inches per side, but way longer, way wider, I mean.
Sure, okay.
So, yeah.
That's cool. That sounds good.
I just want to ruffle the paper so people really get
I appreciate that you drew those up.
a good sound. Yeah, thanks. This I figured, I mean, we were just going to eyeball anyway, but I just wanted...
No, I mean, we were definitely going to measure. I just
Yeah.
didn't know when or how. But you did it already, so it's all done.
Yeah, and looking over everything, I'm like, this is all we need to measure. Because, like, this is the back room.
Right.
This is the rest part of the
everything
store.
on the window just fills up the window,
Yeah.
so you know exactly where
Yeah.
everything is. Same thing with the... You need to know the distance from the counters to the bookshelves, the gap, and then the bookshelves to the wall, because everything between those is just flush against each other.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yep. All right. So, Dal,
Patrick,
in today's comic book industry, who makes any money? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this.
go on.
It's the closing of Ad House that got me thinking about this.
Okay.
Ad House is a respected independent publisher that does a lot of high-quality books. They have Grass of Parnassus coming out in a few months from Stuart and Catherine and Imonen.
The Emonins.
That we're very excited to see. So they do books like that. And, you know, they fit in that Drawn a Quarterly, Fantagraphics, Koyama. Well, they're gone, too.
But they were. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Ad House is very Koyama, where it's like there is a person and they commission these books or they pick up these artists and they have a small curated slate.
I'll be
and
honest,
it's always
I
very high
didn't
quality.
realize Ad House was as small
Yeah.
as far as production staff.
Yeah. The books always look great. They look super professional.
The person that ran Ad House just said, you know, a few weeks ago, what'd you say, Chris? Chris has said, you know what? I'm packing it in.
Yeah.
This doesn't make me any money. I've had to take out, multiple loans to keep going.
Yep.
Like, I have a day job, which is fine, but I was hoping to retire and then just do this. I can't afford to do this in my retirement.
No.
So they're packing it in.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, someone like that, if they just want to, it's not that they didn't make it. They have an incredible body of work that will live on in the minds and hearts of the people that bought their books.
Absolutely.
And a wonderful reputation. They've done...
It's no failure to stop.
No, not at all. That's they're not going out of business. They're stopping.
Yeah.
But they're stopping because it's not worth it financially to continue.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was harder. Like, it was supposed to make life easier. It made life harder. Like opening a second store.
That sounds like comics.
So if someone like that can't make money in comics, who's making money?
Oh, people who flip comics online. That's it. They're the only ones in comics who are making any money.
My answer was the IP holders.
Maybe, but even then, plenty of people who own their own productions, their own comic books, their own properties. You can get those optioned and even made into movies or TV shows and make virtually nothing on it.
Yeah,
depending on what it is. It's not all Walking Dead money, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Do you think Brian Michael Bendis is living off of all his powers, the PlayStation TV show money?
I mean, there's a bunch of people who have had things optioned, like creators who everything they make gets optioned. And it's like, you're still doing 3 books a month at 3 different publishers, and I know why that is.
Yeah.
It's not because you love doing it.
Do you remember the independent comic book from the 90s, Model by Day?
Mm-mm.
That made it into a TV movie.
Did it really?
And with somebody who went on to play a major Marvel character in a Marvel movie franchise.
Really? Who?
Famke.
Oh,
Jean Grey.
Was she Model by Day?
She was Model by Day, yeah.
What was she by night?
Spy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
It's like a cover.
Okay,
but
sure.
only done like 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
So a less interesting Dakota North. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. No, Dakota North wasn't a model.
No, but wasn't she before she was a
Was
road
she?
investigator?
I think you're mixing like Patsy Walker or
No, she was a professional football player who became a superhero. Wait, no, that's Kickersing.
Oh, whoops. But we're still football players, right?
Yeah, but they were all.
Did they give it up, or they were still doing it?
Well, so they were all like super juiced, and then they started like crippling people, and they're like, "Well, we can't be football players anymore because we're super juiced.
So let's go to the
So
XFL.
let's go be like superhero mercenaries or whatever." I didn't stay with it very long. Like a lot of kids of the '80s, I read all the New Universe #1s and went, "Oh, these are bad."
Dal, I was a freshman in college.
I don't care about these comic books.
I had an English class that was the first class of that college to be taught on word processors. So I had all of my work done on 5.5, 5.25?
I don't remember.
Whatever, the floppy disks.
Floppy disks.
Floppy disks. And we
Not
had
diskettes, but floppy disks.
Right. We had a log computer time to go work, and I had to. It was an English class, but it was also a word processing class. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty great because, as college students, we picked up all the technology way faster than the teacher.
Of course.
Who was learning as we did.
Yeah.
And there was the classic. I had already gotten into the save your work. Like somebody was working. We were working at a bank, and somebody had just started absentmindedly kicking, and they kicked out the zip strip cord, and all the computers shut down. So so many people lost all their work. I mean, this is literally spring 1987. Okay. Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So anyway, my end of term massive research essay project was all about the New Universe.
Wow.
Yeah, and it hadn't even come out yet. It was still coming out. So I was basing everything off of all the
Marvel
articles
Age.
from Marvel Age.
Amazing Heroes.
Amazing Heroes, yeah. That's right. I was going to say Heroes Inc., but it's Amazing Heroes. God, I loved Amazing Heroes. That was my favorite comic magazine.
Sure.
But yeah, I thought that honestly thought the who's making money in comics thing was going to be a deeper discussion.
No,
but the answer is really nobody.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the only people, again, that I can think of that are reliably making money are the people who go in, buy whatever the hot comic is, flip it that night for money. They immediately turn it around. They're not even sitting on it like when you think about IP holders, a lot of that is a gamble. You have something and maybe it becomes a movie and maybe that movie becomes popular.
Ultimately, I wasn't looking at the consumer as part of the chain.
They're the only ones. That's the joke of it. Yeah. All the people who are actually making and producing comics, no one's making any money. The people who...
Right. So how does this crazy industry survive?
Oh, we're all idiots.
I guess.
That's it. I mean, we all care too much. That's arguably the problem, is that everyone involved in comics cares too much. It gets back to that Kirby quote. Comics will break your heart. They can only do that because you care.
Because you let them.
That's it.
If you didn't love them, they couldn't touch you.
Things I don't care about can't break my heart. I don't give a shit.
Like me.
But comic books, man. Comic books can break your heart because you sacrifice for them and you invest in them emotionally, not financially, although financially as well. And then all of a sudden it's you look back at 20 years of being a publisher and you're like, I have nothing financially to show for this. I have to stop doing it because I'm a human being who needs a certain amount of money to exist in a capitalist society. I have to have money. I can't just make art. And in comics, it's incredibly difficult to do that. Even, you'd mentioned the major publishers that you consider contemporaries of Ad House, like Fantagraphics and Drawn and Quarterly. No one who works there makes any money.
No, I know. I know that.
None of the people make books for them make any money.
Yeah.
It's the classic Nate Powell thing of hey, I've won Eisner Awards. Hey, I've done these acclaimed books. Here's the advance I got from a major publisher. Here's how long it had to last me for because of how long it took me to do this book. Here's the sub-minimum wage I was making to produce this book.
Yeah.
Man, that's comics. It sucks.
Before we had won our Eisner and we were trying for it, do you remember Eric Thornton telling us? Because Chicago Comics won it early on.
Thornton from Chicago Comics?
Yeah, then of Chicago Comics said, do you want ours? You can just have it.
You can have it.
It has never brought us a cent worth of business.
Nope. I mean, I respect the stores that made it into something, like Jen at the Dragon, where it became a huge part of her branding, where they made a huge deal about it. And there's things where it's man, we should have done a big lit sign that said we won the Spirit of Comics Retailing Award. But it's in general, it doesn't matter to anybody.
I mean,
it doesn't matter to
in,
the kid who wants Pokemon cards. It doesn't
right.
matter to the guy who wants Batman comics.
It's in both of our email signatures.
It is.
And
I mean, I'm proud of it. Don't get me
sure,
wrong.
Of course, a lot of people. It was 8 years ago, 7 years ago,
I'm
8
not
years
that
ago.
proud of it.
8 years
to remember.
But so a lot of people, in articles and things, introduced the store as the Eisner winning challengers.
That's nice.
Yeah, the spirit of the Eisner, or whatever.
Yeah, we usually just abbreviate it to the Eisner Award winning, even though, like, technically,
It's the
you were the recipient
Will Eisner
of the
Spirit of Comic Retailer Award recipient.
Yeah.
But but like we hired a PR person to send out a press release about it, and the store that wasn't even like a finalist, but wasn't even close to winning, got way more publicity than we did.
Yep. No one cared in Chicago.
By telling everyone, oh, it was really close, and I learned that the year after that, it wasn't. It wasn't really close.
It's funny.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, they got more press out of it on the year we won.
Good.
But anyway, it's not about that. It's the industry. It seems now that everyone in the world knows who Iron Man is.
Do they? Oh man, that's bad for his secret identity.
Yeah.
How is he going to protect Tony Stark now? If everyone knows who Iron Man is.
Tony Stark is living on a foreign planet and actually enjoying his life.
He's doing
not coming
pretty
back.
good.
He's not coming back.
Hanging out with superstars like Stiltman and a guy from one issue of Marvel Fanfare.
Marvel Fanfare number 44.
I wonder, I have not even thought to look because the answer would disappoint me, if that spiked in value.
Two things. Today, Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan is doing a Superman TV show.
Right. Based off of a character that appeared in Action Comics like 804 or 844, something like that.
It's like the Earth 2 Superman
Yeah.
from like the New 52 Earth 2 comic, I think, is where he was mostly appearing in.
But his first appearance was in an Action
Of course,
Comics.
sure.
So,
It's
yeah.
always some other random place.
And we got a call today
Oh my god.
for King Spawn #1, one of the signed Todd McFarlane ones.
So I guess we can talk about that now.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
It's too late.
It's not. It's not on FOC yet.
Really?
No.
They showed it. They showed an image of.
They showed an image of what it's going to look like.
Okay, I thought that was an actual.
No.
Because I'm like, that's weird. There's 203 of them. That's weird.
They specifically said the number's going to be based on what we get orders for.
Okay.
And we'll announce the print run when that happens. When is FOC's?
I mean, we'll never sell the number of copies needed to get that, but if you want to go for it.
FOC is August 2nd.
What is the cover price of that book?
$5.99.
What was the cover price of Spawn Universe?
I think it was also $6.
Yeah, so how thick was that King book?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest. With any of these high-end ratio variants, the question is always, is it returnable or not returnable? If it's returnable, I mean, look, it's got...
Now, it can't be because it's more than 2 covers.
But they've been doing returnable anyway on some of that other stuff. Like, there's been other image books recently that have had returnability on more than one cover. They don't mention it here, but I wouldn't really expect them to.
Well, if yes, then yes.
Because they also are doing 7 regular open order covers. Jim Lee or Jay Lee? I don't know.
I don't like either of them, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't even say here. Cover artist Greg Capullo, Sean Gordon Murphy, Puppeteer Lee is who's doing the A cover.
Okay.
Todd McFarlane, David Finch, Sean Gordon Murphy, Greg Capullo, Brett Booth, and Donnie Cates is doing the G cover.
Yeah, I saw him saying something about drawing comic covers is really hard, people.
It is. It's cute. I mean, it's a cute cover.
Yeah,
it's like when I think some American Idol guy ended up doing like a Batman cover.
Oh wow, it's actually fully colored and everything. Okay, that's way better than I would have expected
Yeah,
for
well,
Donny Cates.
I will also mention that Todd McFarlane did inks on it.
Okay.
So I imagine there's some cleaning up here to keep it in a level of professionalism. But I don't know. Maybe Donny
I was
Cates really nailed
expecting
it.
a Charles Soule type of thing, you know.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, like a signed and numbered limited edition Todd McFarlane King Spawn that he's also saying, I'm not signing other King Spawn, so if you want to sign King Spawn, you have to get this one. I don't know, maybe.
All right.
If the other ones are returnable, so we'll see.
So we'll see. Not saying no then, but we did already have somebody call for it today before I read the press release.
I believe it.
Yeah. Love it. Love it, love you. Thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
I'm going to redo that. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
Also, just to be clear, the you that I was loving is the listener.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. I didn't want you to.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I like that clarification.
Yep.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.